The Shocking Truth Behind Medieval Trial by Ordeal, a dive into historical justice practices. Medieval justice captivates modern minds with its blend of harshness and mysticism. Through a glimpse into the past, one encounters a system driven by divine intervention and societal norms. This exploration reveals how people sought truth and justice in an era where the supernatural intertwined with everyday life, shaping governance and law. Trial by ordeal was a method to determine guilt or innocence through painful, often life-threatening tests. Believers thought divine forces would protect the innocent, making these trials a divine judgment. This system aimed to resolve disputes and crimes when evidence or witnesses were lacking, emphasizing faith over facts. The roots of trial by ordeal stretched deep into history, influenced by ancient customs and religious beliefs. In medieval Europe, these trials became formalized, reflecting societal norms and the Church's power. The historical context reveals a time when supernatural intervention was a trusted means for discerning truth and maintaining order. Ordeals varied, with fire, water, and combat among the most common. Each type had specific rituals and symbolic meanings. Ordeal by fire involved walking on hot coals, while ordeal by water tested the accused through submersion. Ordeal by combat resolved disputes through physical battle, underscoring the era's martial values. Walking on hot coals characterized ordeal by fire, a grueling test of faith and endurance. The accused would traverse a bed of burning embers, their fate revealing divine judgment. If unscathed, they were deemed innocent, while burns indicated guilt. This trial highlighted the era's belief in divine intervention and justice. Ordeal by water was a common trial method where the accused was submerged in water. If they floated, they were deemed guilty, as water, a pure element, rejected them. Conversely, sinking implied innocence, but often led to drowning. This method reflected a belief in divine judgment through natural elements. The drowning test, or ordeal by water, had deep roots in superstition and religious beliefs. It was thought that divine forces would protect the innocent. This practice showcased the era's reliance on supernatural intervention over rational legal processes, highlighting the period's unique fusion of law and faith. Ordeal by combat involved two parties fighting to determine innocence or guilt. The victor was considered to have divine favor. This method was prevalent among nobles, reflecting a martial society that valued physical prowess and divine justice. It underscored the era's intertwining of combat skills and legal outcomes. The Church played a significant role in the administration of ordeals, often overseeing the procedures to ensure they were conducted properly. Clergy members believed that divine intervention would reveal the truth. Their involvement lent spiritual legitimacy to the process, reinforcing the belief in a higher power's role in justice. One of the most famous cases of trial by ordeal involved Queen Emma, who was accused of adultery. She underwent ordeal by fire, walking unharmed over hot plowshares. Her survival was seen as divine proof of innocence, illustrating the era's reliance on miraculous signs to determine truth and dispel accusations. The procedure of ordeal by fire involved the accused walking barefoot over hot coals or holding a red-hot iron. This test was believed to reveal truth through divine intervention. Severe burns indicated guilt, while minimal injury suggested innocence, reflecting the era's deep-rooted faith in divine judgment. In the ordeal by water, the accused was submerged in water, often with hands and feet bound. If they floated, it was seen as a sign of guilt, as water rejected them. Sinking indicated innocence. This method underscored the community's belief in supernatural forces guiding justice. Ordeal by combat required the accused to fight a designated opponent, often to the death, or until one party was incapacitated. Victory was seen as a sign of divine favor and innocence. This brutal method emphasized physical strength and divine will in determining guilt or innocence. The psychological impact on the accused was profound, as the fear of severe injury or death loomed large. The anticipation of divine judgment added immense mental strain. This fear often coerced confessions, regardless of actual guilt, showcasing the ordeal's intense psychological pressure. Community and witnesses played crucial roles in the ordeal process, ensuring fairness and transparency. Their presence was believed to invoke divine oversight and validate the outcome. Witnesses also helped reinforce societal norms and collective belief in the justice system's legitimacy. Trial by ordeal functioned within a broader legal framework that sought divine judgment to determine guilt. Rooted in the belief that higher powers would reveal truth, these trials provided a method for resolving disputes when evidence was scarce. They were formalized rituals, often supervised by authorities, ensuring adherence to established procedures. Ordeals played a crucial role in determining guilt during medieval times. Accused individuals underwent physically demanding tests, with the outcome viewed as a sign of divine will. This method aimed to reveal truth and maintain societal order, reflecting the intertwining of religious faith and judicial practices. Superstition and religion significantly influenced the acceptance and administration of ordeals. People believed that divine forces would protect the innocent and expose the guilty. This faith in supernatural intervention reinforced the judiciary's reliance on ordeals, shaping medieval justice and societal perceptions of fairness. The decline of trial by ordeal marked a shift towards more rational legal practices. Factors such as increased skepticism about divine intervention and the Church's changing stance contributed to this transition. The development of jury trials and evidence-based procedures gradually replaced ordeals, reflecting evolving notions of justice. Key historical figures who underwent ordeals provide fascinating insights into medieval justice. Their stories, often documented in chronicles, highlight the personal and political stakes involved. These cases serve as compelling examples of how trial by ordeal impacted individuals' lives and influenced broader legal and societal developments. The clergy played a crucial role in administering ordeals by invoking divine judgment. They conducted rituals, prayers, and blessings, believing that God would reveal the truth through the ordeal. Their involvement lent religious legitimacy to the process, reinforcing the belief that divine justice was at work in determining guilt or innocence. As society shifted towards more structured legal systems, jury trials began to replace ordeals. This transition marked the evolution from supernatural to rational methods of justice. Jury trials allowed for evidence and testimony to be weighed objectively, reflecting a growing emphasis on human reasoning and fairness in the judicial process. Ordeals were not unique to medieval Europe. They appeared in various cultures worldwide. Each culture adapted the concept to fit its beliefs and legal systems. For instance, ancient India practiced ordeal by fire, while African tribes sometimes used poison ordeals. These practices highlight the universal quest for divine justice. In medieval society, ordeals served as more than mere judicial procedures. They were social events. Public participation and communal witnessing reinforced societal norms and values. The outcome of an ordeal could affect an individual's social standing, reflecting the deep intertwining of justice, religion, and community in medieval life. Public perception of ordeals was complex, often influenced by religion and superstition. While some saw them as a direct link to divine will, others viewed them with skepticism. Over time, growing criticism and the rise of rational thought led to the decline of ordeals, paving the way for more modern legal practices. Public perception of ordeals in medieval society was complex. Many viewed them as divine tests, believing that God would reveal the truth. This faith in divine intervention fostered a sense of order and justice. Despite the often brutal nature of these trials, trust in this system underscored community cohesion and moral standards. Criticism and controversy surrounding ordeals grew over time. Skeptics questioned the fairness and reliability of such trials, citing the influence of superstition and manipulation. The harsh conditions and potential for human error led to increasing doubts about their justice, prompting calls for more rational and humane legal practices. The last recorded ordeal marks a significant historical turning point. This event highlighted the shifting attitudes towards justice and the decline of supernatural beliefs in legal proceedings. It served as a catalyst for the transition towards more evidence-based and rational legal systems, reflecting evolving societal values and the quest for fairness. The legacy of trial by ordeal in modern law is subtle but enduring. While contemporary legal systems reject supernatural methods, the historical impact of ordeals persists in the emphasis on due process and the presumption of innocence. These principles echo the ancient desire for a fair and divine arbiter in human affairs. Fire and water held powerful symbolism in ordeals. Fire represented purification and divine wrath, while water signified cleansing and truth-revealing properties. These elements were believed to be instruments of divine judgment, reinforcing the notion that higher powers were directly involved in the administration of justice. This symbolism deeply influenced medieval legal rituals. Medieval ordeal practices often reflected gender roles within society. Men predominantly faced ordeals by combat, emphasizing physical strength, while women more frequently underwent ordeals by water or fire. This disparity highlighted societal views of women's perceived fragility and moral susceptibility, reinforcing gender-specific expectations and biases in the justice system. Ordeal practices left a significant mark on medieval literature, weaving tales of heroism, divine intervention, and societal justice. Authors used ordeals as plot devices to illustrate moral lessons, character development, and the struggle between good and evil. These narratives captivated readers, embedding the concept of divine justice in cultural storytelling. Following an ordeal, survivors often faced severe psychological and physical consequences. The trauma from such harrowing experiences could lead to long-term mental health issues, while physical scars served as permanent reminders. These impacts affected social standing and relationships, influencing how individuals were perceived and treated within their communities. Ordeals were frequently employed during witch trials, particularly in the late medieval period. Accused witches underwent brutal tests, like being submerged in water, to determine guilt. These practices stemmed from deep-seated beliefs in witchcraft and the supernatural, often leading to the persecution and execution of innocent individuals. The administration of ordeals showcased the complex interplay between law and religion during the medieval era. Clergy often presided over these trials, invoking divine judgment. This intersection highlighted the Church's powerful role in governance, as religious authorities influenced legal outcomes, reinforcing the perceived legitimacy of divine intervention in human affairs. The intersection of law and religion in ordeals was profound, as both realms wielded significant influence over medieval society. Clergy often played critical roles in administering ordeals, reinforcing the belief that divine intervention would reveal the truth. This blend of spiritual and legal systems underscored the era's deep intertwining of faith and governance. Ordeals impacted medieval governance by reinforcing the power structures of the time. Rulers and local authorities relied on these trials to maintain order and assert their authority. The perceived divine justice delivered through ordeals helped legitimize their rule, cementing the social hierarchies and norms that govern daily life. Ordeal practices reflected societal values, emphasizing notions of honor, bravery, and divine justice. Communities believed that innocence or guilt could be revealed through supernatural means. This cultural framework influenced how justice was perceived and administered, demonstrating the deep-rooted connection between societal beliefs and judicial practices. The ethical implications of trial by ordeal are complex and troubling. These practices often subjected individuals to extreme physical harm based on superstition rather than evidence. The reliance on divine intervention to determine guilt or innocence highlights the period's moral dilemmas and the harsh realities faced by those accused. Medieval justice, particularly trial by ordeal, continues to fascinate modern audiences. This enduring interest stems from the dramatic and often brutal methods of determining guilt, reflecting a time when faith and fear were potent forces in the pursuit of justice. The legacy of these practices offers a stark contrast to contemporary legal systems.